Hey everyone, welcome back to Realpolitik. Today we're going to be talking about the latest developments in Ukraine for June the 2nd, 2023. And before we start, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So, Zelensky has visited Moldova, and this is significant because it's again raising fears that the Ukrainian army might be thinking about attacking Transnistria, which is a breakaway region of Moldova, and there's Russian peacekeepers there, and a significant amount of ammunition and weaponry that the Russians have there. And so that's something to keep in mind. Um, so there's fighting all along the front lines. The Ukrainians recently have been focusing on bombarding uh, Berdyansk, Mariupol, and Melitopol specifically. And any day now, uh, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ukrainians launch their long anticipated counteroffensive towards Zaporizhia. Of course, they want to do this to cut off the land bridge between Crimea and the Donbass. So, considering the weather right now, there's not going to be much rain for the next couple of weeks. That's the forecast. So it could be possible that the Ukrainians are going to launch a counteroffensive. But realistically, um, to be honest, there's a lot more activity up north. So let's just talk about it. So specifically, the Ukrainians, they're bombarding and focusing mostly on the Belgorod region, right? And specifically on the settlement, the town of Chebekino. And let's just take a look at some footage of that. So this is from Shebekino just 2 days ago.
Накрыло просто весь центр города.
The result of Ukrainian shelling. You see how they hit that building right there. Some smashed windows. And let's take a look at this. Burning house, Shebekino, smoke rising into the atmosphere, to the air. And yeah, they really seem to be focusing on this town. And this was from yesterday. They within the last 24 hours. So a lot of it is a lot of the shelling ends up affecting civilians. And actually, Ukraine launched an offensive towards Shebekino during the last within the last 24 hours, but basically a bunch of Russian border guards and volunteers repelled the attack, and the Russians launched artillery as well. But let's look at some more footage of Shebekino. Another destroyed building hit by shelling. There's a reporter. Broken glass, as you can see, car damaged. So let's look at this one right here. This is in Belgorod, I believe, city itself. And the Russians have responded by sending. You'll see they're sending it. This is a tank that's being sent forward to the front lines. And from yesterday, let's turn up the sound for this one. Hear that again. And this one is from Kursk, which is also near the border. So yeah, lately the Ukrainians have been focusing on the border, shelling the border, launching incursions into the border regions. But anyways, another thing to mention, an oil refinery in Krasnodar was hit. That's another thing the Ukrainians are focusing on. They're continually targeting oil facilities and energy facilities near the border. And this one was a success for the Ukrainians. Let me find it. Yes, Krasnodar. I highlighted it. So let's look at some footage of that. And what happened is fuel they hit a fuel distillation unit, and it was a direct hit. So you can see that's pretty significant. So the Ukrainians are using drones and also the Shadow Storm missile as well, missiles from the UK. And the Russians are shooting a significant number of them down, or a lot of them are brought down with electronic warfare, but um, no system is perfect, right? Anyways, if we go on to Kiev, so in Kiev, recently, it's something like for the last, remember how last year they said Russia was running out of missiles? Well, for the last, I think, 10 days, Russia has been bombarding Ukraine with missiles, drones, just nonstop. And, I think a few days ago was the largest number of Shawhead drones, these are the Iranian drones that they launched towards Ukraine. And of course, the Ukrainians always claim that they shoot all of them down. Just yesterday, they claimed they shot down 21 Shawhead drones and 15 cruise missiles. And oftentimes they claim to shoot down everything, but then, you know, you'll see counter evidence surface on Twitter and, just online on Telegram, wherever. Of course, they don't like that. And recently, 2 days ago, they arrested like 30 um, war bloggers, people that just post on Twitter and whatnot. So the Russians launch like you know drones at Kiev, and someone will, or any other city, and someone will record it, put it online, and yeah, they arrested a few, more than 30 of them just 2 days ago. But anyways, let's take a look at this. Basically, recently, the Russians launched drones and missiles at Kiev, and if you look at this footage, this is actually, it turns out, well, there's some debate regarding this, but analysts are saying that it's actually a Patriot missile, which misfired. So at first, people were saying it was a Russian cruise missile, but analysts that have looked at the footage and slowed it down, they're saying it's a Patriot missile, and then others are disputing it. But anyways, if that is a Patriot missile, I mean that's $5 million down the drain. And you know what's funny? It landed on Bandera Avenue. So this is Bandera Avenue. Quite ironic. Anyways, I think this is the same bridge, but let's see. And I think this one was it. I'm not sure if this was the same one or it appears to hit the water, but it seems like it's the same bridge. So maybe a few of them landed in that area. I don't know. Um, Anyways, authorities in Kiev, just from yesterday, claimed that three people were killed, two of them children, after the strikes on the city, uh, May 31st. So yeah, that's two nights ago. Um, yeah, it's interesting how the Ukrainians always claim to shoot down everything, and then you see things like this. Yeah, so the Russians, 2 days ago, they hit the headquarters of the main direct Directorate of the Intelligence for the Ukraine Armed Forces. So the GUR, the headquarters of the main Directorate of Intelligence for the Ukrainian Armed Forces. It's a mouthful. Um, this is the building. So either Russian drones or something hit it, missiles or drones. They got through multiple hits. There were multiple hits, as you can see from the pictures. So that's significant because the Russians are now targeting decision-making centers, right? Ukrainian decision-making centers. Up till now, they weren't really doing that. Anyways, I'm going to show you some footage that just came out a few hours ago, within I think 2-3 hours. It shows a Patriot, what they're claiming to be a Patriot battery, basically malfunctioning. But here, let's take a look at it. And this is in Kiev, by the way. So missiles are being launched into the air. And that missile hit a building, and that one hit another building. So if those were Patriots, that's $5 million a piece again. So in this one you can see that something on the ground was hit, the same area where the missiles were launched. Something was struck and is burning. You can see if you look closely. And for some reason, there's no sound. Yeah, there's no sound for this. Again, something else was hit. Uh, some analysts are claiming these are air defense batteries. Some are saying they're Patriot batteries. Some are saying S-300. But you can see smoke going into the air. Like right around here, you can see smoke billowing. Oh yeah, and now you see um, that same battery launches a missile after being struck, and that missile, um, see that that battery was hit, launches a missile. That missile hits a residential building, most likely, or the street. And then there's this one, the third one in the series. Zooming in. Something was struck. That was a significant explosion. Something is burning, looks like. Anyways, so there's that. That's from Kiev. And what else? So Shoigu, the defense minister of Russia, gave a speech recently.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Приступаем к работе.
And to sum it up, he's basically ends up saying that over the past month, Ukrainian losses add up to 16,000 troops. I'm assuming that's casualties. So that includes killed in action, missing in action, injured, captured. And if you do the math according to NATO standards, one for every three, that would mean around 4,000 killed in action. And so 4,000 killed in action, 12,000 injured, captured, or missing. That's Ukrainian troops. And then they're saying 16,000 troops, 16,000 casualties, 16 aircraft lost by Ukraine. They're saying 466 UAVs and 400 tanks and other combat vehicles. Putin also gave a speech recently, and he mentioned in that speech that Russia had hit the Ukrainian military intelligence headquarters in a recent missile strike, and I showed you pictures of that. So, in any case, something else to mention. So, yeah, near Kupiansk, near the city of Kupiansk. So the Russians recently took this settlement, Matsuitivka, yeah. And this map is now showing that. And there's been fighting reported at this settlement, which is west of the Oskil River. So there had been reports that the Russians had made it to the other side of the river, had made it west, and now that has been confirmed. So fighting is ongoing in this area. Also, in Odessa, in a recent missile and drone strike in Odessa, the last ship of the Ukrainian Navy, it's called the Yuri Olefirenko. There's no footage of this, but the Russians are claiming very adamantly that the Yuri Olefirenko, the last Navy ship, a proper ship, not like a little mini ship or like a proper sized ship of the Ukrainian Navy, has been destroyed and that it's sunk after being struck by missiles. So there's that. So here's the thing. No, I have said this before. No weapon is foolproof. No army is invincible. So let's take a look at this. In Kursk, Russian air defense system Panzer S-1 fired at their own residential houses. So I showed you footage of Ukrainian air defense systems misfiring, firing at residential buildings. Well, it seems to happen to the Russians as well. Well, according to the Ukrainian bloggers, Russian bloggers claimed unknown missiles were fired. These propagandists couldn't recognize the Panzer's rockets use a thruster booster, which is what you see here. So let's take a look. So I don't know if this is I don't know if it's a Panzer, but that's what they're claiming. Could be. I mean, look, this is a high intensity conflict. Uh, hundreds, thousands of missiles are going to be fired within a year, within a couple months, and no system's foolproof. So this is what ends up happening sometimes, right? Anyways, so the Russian embassy in USA, Ukrainian authority atrocities, shelling kills 3 civilians in Donetsk. This is according to the Russians. Belgorod region was shelled by Ukrainian multiple launch rocket systems and artillery over 260 times. 3 Ukrainian generals have been placed on the wanted list for killing 500 Donbass civilians. So yeah, that's what I was talking about, how um, Ukraine has been focusing on the Belgorod region and the border regions recently. This collage kind of shows um, various buildings hit, various civilians affected. And then, man, something got hammered in Kiev by Iskanders. Okay, let's take a look at that.
Сейчас будет грохот. Ебать!
I hope he's not swearing in that so I don't get a community guideline strike.
Ебать!
I have to turn up the volume though.
Сейчас будет грохот. Ебать! Ебать!
So, yeah, obviously in Kiev, something hit its target, that's for sure. And let's take a look at Bakhmut, the battle for Bakhmut's over, obviously, but let's take a look at what the city looks like now. And obviously, there's nothing but ruins left. I'll tell you one thing, the rebuilding process is going to take years, if that even happens. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be work for construction workers for decades to come. That's why oftentimes after protracted war, you see kind of an economic boom afterwards because, first of all, there's a sense of relief among people, and then obviously the construction industry booms because everything has to be rebuilt, everything has to be removed. If you have a junk removal business, you'll be rich even, right? So, um, anyways, there's that. Let's look at some more footage of Bakhmut. Um, and we'll look at some other stuff. Tank destroyed in Bakhmut. I mean, there's really nothing left of the city. The whole city is ruins, right? But this playground survived. And this church partially. So I guess that's good. You can just see the level of destruction. There's a reason in World War II, the French, once they were defeated by the Germans, they decided to declare Paris an open city because when when you fight house to house, urban fighting, urban warfare, this is the end result, right? I think there were 70,000 civilians in Bakhmut before the war started. Now, I have no clue. Probably nothing. Maybe a few thousand, a few hundred. I don't know. Anyways, Ukrainian, pro-Ukrainian pundits on Twitter released this footage of they're saying a HIMARS destroyed a Russian S-400 command center. But the Russians are claiming that this command center could be used by a variety of systems, including the Panzer. And then some people are saying that it's actually that answer was actually this one because when Ukraine attacked Moscow, when Ukraine attacked Moscow a few days ago, some of the drones were brought down with electronic warfare. Some of them were brought down with the Panzer. And this video allowed Ukrainians to identify where the Panzer was stationed. And some people are saying that was the Panzer that was actually struck. But who knows? But anyways, let's take a look at something else. Again, they're saying in Kursk, a Russian Panzer air defense system hit the entrance of a high-rise building. And this is something else, obviously. This is in Kursk. But yeah, apparently they're saying it malfunctioned. Also, a Panzer S1 installed on main building of Russian Ministry of Defense. Right. So there's that. Anyways, um, let's talk about Iran because recently the Taliban they attacked a border post in Iran, and this is over um, the Taliban and Iran have a dispute over several dams that there's a river that sends water into Iran, this river specifically, and there are, I believe, two dams along the river. And according to a 1973 agreement, the Afghanistan, according to a 1973 agreement, is supposed to give Iran a certain amount of water. Now, even before the Taliban came to power recently, the previous Afghan government, they were refusing to give Iran water. They said, we're not going to give you free water. And tensions were high. And now the tensions have simmered and boiled over with the Taliban in power. And they don't seem to be able to come to an agreement. And the Taliban now, after the attack on the border post, now they try to negotiate, but the Taliban, I don't think the negotiations worked out because they're sending armored vehicles, Humvees, personnel in pickup trucks. There's ambulances. There's anti-aircraft guns. There are artillery, Soviet-era artillery. So they seem to be sending hundreds, if not thousands, of troops towards the Iranian border. And the Iranians are adamant that they want their water according to that agreement. And the Taliban are saying, well, we're experiencing droughts and there is no water. But then satellite imagery proves that compared to last year, there there's a lot of water. And the Iranians are saying, look, if there's no water, it's fine, but why don't you let us send a representative to confirm it? And the Taliban say, no, obviously, there probably is water. But now the Taliban are saying, you know, the agreement be damned. We're not going to give you any water for free. And we are going to build 3 new dams. And recently they tried negotiating, and that's a tank that went by. And the negotiations obviously didn't go too well because the Taliban, this is how they're responding. And of course, recently Iran unveiled a new missile, officially with a range of 2,000 kilometers, but analysts are saying it's probably more like 4,000 kilometers, so it could reach London. And yeah, and then there's also claims that Iran is about to unveil a hypersonic missile that would be in line with something like the Kinzhal. So there's that, and then Iran recently actually unveiled. This is Taliban soldiers getting into pickup trucks going towards the Iranian border. But yeah, Iran recently unveiled a medium-sized transport plane that they've been working on, um, and it actually they showed off footage of a test flight. So they've Iran is in terms of what people think of their capabilities, yeah, Iran is underrated. They have good engineers. Like, obviously, they're selling drones to Russia. A few years ago, people would laugh at that idea, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how serious the Taliban are about this because realistically, if they do actually attack Iran and go into Iran, like into the territory, we're talking about like, kilometers, tens of kilometers. And if it's not just an incursion, if they actually go into Iran trying to take territory, I mean, never mind the missiles and drones, the Iranian Air Force will probably smoke them because, the Iranians have more than 150 fighter jets, and the Taliban don't have an air force really. I mean, I think they have some jets um, from that the U.S. The U.S. backed government left behind. A lot of them flew to Tajikistan. But some of them they have. But who knows if they have pilots and do they have spare parts? And anyways, in any case, yeah, technologically speaking and militarily, the Taliban are no match. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.